Hey there, folks on LinkedIn and Facebook, on Jen's pages. I'm here, so excited with my friend Jenn Cormier. She is one of the most brilliant coaches on this earth, I think, because she just incorporates such beauty and grace and so much heart in the work that she does. So I'm really happy to introduce you to a special spotlight today for Jenn. She is going to be joining us on Monday, July 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Unbreakable Health Summit. So the Unbreakable Health Summit is a response to post-pandemic times to help you reclaim feeling, starting from disempowered to getting to feeling empowered, going from stress to ease and flow. And each of these episodes have brought in nourishment through the mouth and nutrition, stronger bodies through the physical body and mind-body connection. And Jenn is going to be on the panel on July 25th on Monday night on the topic of emotional resilience. And so really excited that she's going to be on. So welcome, Jenn. Thanks for being here with me. Love it.
Well, thank you, Tina, for having me. I'm always happy to sit down with you.
I know. I just adore you. And I'm so excited that you're in Connecticut and we'll have a chance to finally be together in person, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So a little bit about Jenn. Jenn is a grief guide and ceremonial artist. She brings 20 years of experience in the healing arts. She's truly she has so many tools to help her clients move through life transitions, especially with grief and loss. And she's dedicated her time and her, love and her heart into really healing those people who are suffering from loss. And we've experienced so many losses over the last 3 years, not just in physical deaths or departures, but just loss of relationships, loss of normalcy. There's so many losses that we are trying to rebridge and heal. And that's what the Unbreakable Health Summit is all about. And so she's committed to helping clients relate to death and their walk with grief. And not as something to get over or to manage, but really taking that grief and loss and using that as a catalyst for personal development, growth, and a deeper healing journey. So she is also the creator and host of the Walk Through Grief with Grace podcast and the Transform Your Grief holistic group coaching program, which she offers. So she brings spiritual, creative, embodiment, somatic healing, and she truly is an artist, and creative to be able to bring all these modalities as tools for people to readily utilize to get beyond grief and loss, not just get beyond it, but live with it and acknowledge it and heal through the journey back to yourself. So this is what it's all about. So thanks, Jenn. I have a couple of questions that I would love to start the dialogue with, and that may highlight, just a little bit more about you. So tell us, in your own words, what you've been seeing with clients, or, in your work that you've been doing in helping people go through loss. What are people experiencing? How does it affect their lives, negatively? Like what are some things that, the clients that come to you kind of broken, what does that look like? And if you could give us some insight into what it looks like for people really in the midst of loss.
Yeah. Well, I think when we experience something that feels like too much, a loss, some major life shift that feels like the ground is pulled up from underneath, we can feel like we're completely off our center. We're no longer in alignment. We feel like we're, broken, or we've fallen apart. We're unraveling, or we feel like we want to do everything we possibly can to avoid falling apart, right? To avoid breaking. And I think that that's where a lot of our suffering comes from, is this mental construct, the mental construct of I've got to hold it together. I've got to stay put together somehow. I've got to just keep pushing forward, or else everything will fall apart. And when that happens, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen, right? And I like this word that you're using for this, now that we've been in a COVID collective moment for, 2.5, whatever the math is, years, right? Years of a global pandemic, where we have been physically feeling isolated and torn apart as communal human mammal village creatures, right? I think that construct of I don't want to fall apart, I don't want to break. That's one of the things that is so damaging, because really what life is a series of, I have this flower in front of me. I showed Tina right before we started, this rose from the garden outside. And one of the things that I learned in my grief process of, I really went through a year-long process when I lost my dad. That's how I got into this grief work. It took me a decade to really almost a decade, start doing grief work. But what I learned in that year of being in nature, of walking out in nature, of being with my internal landscape and with things like flowers, is that we bud, we bloom, and then we fall apart. The petals have to come undone and go back to the earth, and we have to go through winter, and then we come back up through the soil again. And there is so much beauty there, but it is a cycle. It is a cycle, and that cycle is natural. So if we can soften our sort of mental construct of what it is to be I, me, my person, this individual self that our collective Western industrialized modern culture thinks of as so independent. We are not independent. We are in a web of things. And when we look outside and we go, oh gosh, it looks like everything is completely dead and will never come back again, because I'm in February in New England, right? Or whatever. But everything's just resting. We need that time to then regenerate and to come back up to the soil for the next cycle. So if we can see those times of feeling like we're broken as just part of what is, that's part of the natural cycle, that there will be loss, we will come undone, we will be broken, we will fall apart, we will go back into the soil, and at some time we will rise up again, Phoenix from the ashes style, and then the cycle will come around again. So I think it's just surrendering to the fact that is what is, really helps us move through our grief so that we're not creating extra unnecessary suffering. And that's what a lot of people come to me with, is that extra suffering that sort of comes on top of the actual loss that's occurred. Right.
Yeah. And I want to mention that, I'm just gonna mute you for 1 second. One of the things that that brought Jen and I together, really, like spiritually, emotionally, is that both of our fathers died of cancer, and that's what brought each of us to coaching and helping and guiding others who are experiencing transitions or really facing their health issues, really facing suffering. And we know, both Jen and I know intimately, the pains of watching someone suffer who you so dearly love in your beloveds. And in Jen's podcast, recent podcast, which came out today, right, Jen? It came out today. We talked about anticipated grief, and how even when the beloved is not, has not departed from our lives yet, if they're in the midst of suffering, there is a grieving process, an anticipatory grieving process that happens. And I loved how we talked about that in your podcast episode, because it really is so important in terms of really realizing that is a part of the grieving process, right? That is a part of going through that journey, right, Jen? Do you have a comment about that?
Yeah, I think that it is. It's all part of the journey, and I loved. If you want to hear more of Tina's story about her and her father, it's a really beautiful podcast. It's it just dropped today conveniently. It was like we were doing this, and but I think some of that is inevitable. Our pain is inevitable, but when we get stuck in worry, when we get stuck in, oh gosh, what's going to happen in the future? I mean, there's some planning that we naturally have to do, but I think softening around those mental tapes around what's going to happen in the future, if we can keep coming back into the present moment, keep coming back into our body, we can be in a grieving process that, like Tina, for you, that was like a decade, right? Your dad was in this long journey of cancer, slowly taking him. But there were moments, there's a really beautiful part of your story where you shared this unbreakable moment where your father was just shining, his life force as a gift. And I feel like there's the capacity to be in the present moment, and it's just a breath away. And when we can come back to our breath and we can come back to this moment right now, then there's a buffet of all possible human experiences available to us, including joy, including love, including pleasure. And that's sort of what grief taught me was, wow, I can be in the depths of grieving my dad, and then I can light a candle and start moving and dancing, and then I can have all this joy and pleasure. And that doesn't negate the fact that my dad is gone and I might be missing him and I might be grieving him, but I can also experience that full spectrum of living, even during the grief process. So I think that's really important for people to hear, because they think, oh, I'm going to go through this grief program. It's going to be dark, black, whatever, all the time. It's going to be this one sad, dark, hard. It's like, yeah, well, there might be sad, dark, hard, but there's also going to be lightness. There's also going to be joy. You just have to keep moving through what is, and there's the next thing there for you.
I love that. That is tremendous. That is so insightful and so beautiful. And that's what Jenn does, is really, really empower clients, people who really can't get out of that hypervigilant mode of worry and obsessive thoughts about what is to come or what can happen or what the worst case scenario might be, and to really give some relief, provide the tools to be able to provide, get some relief from that dark place. So I love that. So tell us, what do you think Unbreakable means for you, and what should it mean for people who are grieving right now, or grieving losses, or anticipating loss?
I think Unbreakable, to me, really speaks to the soul. It speaks to that part of us that is, everlasting, that is light, that is love, right? And that is in all of us. So that essence truly is unbreakable, right? And then the humanness of us goes through all those cycles that feel like we're blooming and feel like we're falling apart. And, so that really is the paradox of our existence, right? As spiritual, soulful beings in this human body, we feel like we're breaking and we're broken, and that is part of the cycle. And then also we are absolutely unbreakable because we have these soulful, spiritual, light and love-filled essences that,
that make us,
that
yeah,
make us eternal, right? And
right.
and divine.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, forget or may not ever have been guided to have the tools to become resilient. Because, most people power through their every single days in a very high stress mode. They have to get things done. They have to check off their checklist. Like the reality of every day kind of gets in the way of actually practicing resilience. And I feel like as a coach myself, working with people on health turnarounds and losing up to 100 pounds of body fat and helping them to evolve their mindset and having a new vision of themselves requires practice, requires training of the mind and the body to become resilient and having the tools to do that. And that's what you do so well, Jenn, is like you you provide a buffet, your words, a buffet of tools and practices to help people really move through suffering, move through that turmoil when we're anticipating loss or grieving loss after the fact. So I love that. Yeah, and it's our human spirit. It is our human condition. So I'm so excited that you're going to be on this panel on Monday night because it is about building the tool set and the resources to become more emotionally resilient. And when you have those tools available to you, then basically you are able to navigate more interference or things that we cannot control. And I know you can relate to this just as much as I did. When we anticipate loss, it is our natural human condition to protect, self-protect, and be in survival mode. And we've been in survival mode over this pandemic times for so long and such an endured, period of time that it's really shown up in anxiety and uncertainty and really unable to trust one another and trust oneself. And so this whole journey back to ourselves is about building the toolbox to be unbreakable. So I'm just so excited that you're going to be on this panel. We're going to be talking about bridging losses. We're going to be talking about how you can trust again, be in a position of fearlessness and more certainty with your actions forward. And that's really what Unbreakable means, is building that toolbox of emotional resiliency and feeling more empowered to face hard things, but in a more brilliant way, in a more not controlled, but more empowered way, self-empowered way, right?
Yeah.
More compassionate way for yourself.
Yeah. Self-compassion, because I think that a couple of the things that are so present, what I'm seeing now with folks is really heightened anxiety with all different types of people, lots of anxiety. And that's, one of the things that's that I think we can talk about, on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because so many people, I think, are resonating on whatever level with that overwhelm and that anxiety that's present.
Right. And it's almost like we've been holding our breath for the past 3 years. Yeah. So So thanks, Jen. This is so awesome. We also have Junie Moon, who is the love coach, who's going to be sharing her perspectives about relationship and love in midlife and what this pandemic time has kind of shown up like for people in finding love after divorce or loss or death. And then we also have Robert Kandarjian, who is a healing touch practitioner and chiropractor, but basically he's a healing energy healer, and he has, I don't know, like 30 years of experience. He's incredibly wise, and I'm excited for you, Jen, to connect with him as well. But the three panelists that will be with me on Monday are going to provide incredible perspectives of hope, of empowerment, and being able to be at ease and flow going forward, giving you the tools and the mindset to help you really look forward with more hope and positivity and certainty. So just wanted to share that with you. If you are joining us on the live or the replay, feel free to drop in any questions, because we will respond to those questions at the Unbreakable Health Summit. And the link to register is going across the screen right now, and it should be on the description of the post. It is absolutely free for you. This is a response to the community to provide support, and all of my really close, highly respected friends to be able to support you during this time, because we are all experiencing heaviness and things around us that just don't seem to make sense. And this is a chance to really get your power back, be in a community with others that are living with the same feelings, and taking steps to really healing ourselves and to be in a position of more empowerment. So I hope to see you. Register now. There's a bit.ly link, Unbreakable Summit 2022. We have 2 more episodes. Monday night, emotional resiliency, and then episode 4 is on August 1st. And we're going to be talking about money and worth. And we have 3 additional practitioners that are specifically going to be talking about moving into prosperity. So this is for you. It's absolutely free. Register right now, and we look forward to seeing you. So thanks, Jen, for joining me on the spotlight, and can't wait to see you on Monday. I'm so excited. Just adore you. And anything, any last words you want to say before we sign off here? Oh, you're on mute, Jen. You're on mute.
I was just going to say, I'm looking forward to offering this to the community. I think it'll be really, really insightful. And I know so many of us need a little infusion of hope and ease, and a remembrance of our, internal strength. So I'm really looking forward to stepping in on Monday. So
yeah, well said. Well said. Thank you so much, Jen. Love you. Love you. And
love you, Tony.
I will see you on Monday. Thank you so much for your time. And folks, stay tuned. I have Devin Bailey coming up in the next hour, and he's going to be on our last panel. And definitely stay tuned and register right now. It's absolutely free for you. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Thank you.